What's up? What's up? It's time for Done Way Past Funny with your host, G.D. Fenderson. Join us as we take a look back at the early works of seasoned comedians before they were seasoned with this week's guest, the legend, Harry Kurtz. It's time to get down and get dope with Done Way Past Funny. Hi, I'm G.D. Fenderson, certified forensic humorist at large, but I'm losing weight. This is part 2 of our interview with the legendary Harry Kurtz. Enjoy. So when things started to change for you, for in comedy as far as words that we can and cannot say, how did you adapt, or did you?
I came up with this pre-direction, which I've taught about 2,000 people how to be funny. I was teaching classes at LACU and adult comedy schools, at adult education and stuff like that. And I was telling people, if you need to be clean, and they tell you just before you go on stage, the key is put your mindset out there that in the audience, in the front row, is your priest, your rabbi, or your grandparents. And your brain will automatically clean up your act.
Yeah. For me, it's the children. For me, I had to pretend that kids are there.
Kids are good too, yeah.
Because the kids did not even, my stepkids didn't even know, they didn't know I even knew how to curse for years because they had never heard me curse. I hit my thumb with a hammer and I went, oh gosh. And they used to tease me because I'd go like, oh man. Oh man.
Golly gee. Darn. Oh heck.
And they one time they heard me curse, I was actually mad at their mother. And
surprise.
And whenever I was mad with the mother, I never took it out on the kids. So that's probably another reason they never heard me cuss. Because if I was mad at the mother, why yell at the kids? So, and I was mad at the mother, and I did this. I went, and the kids are in the next room. And they go, "Uh-oh, he's mad because we've never heard him curse." And then the daughter goes, and he also rubbed his hair. Because he doesn't do that unless he's angry. And then I looked in the mirror and I realized I had a part in my hair from whenever I got angry. I was doing this.
Wow.
I actually pulled the hair, so I had to stop. I stopped doing that.
You wore it away.
Yes, I wore the hair out in that one spot, so I actually stopped doing it.
Well, don't go like this anymore, okay? Don't do this.
So, but you never told me. The question was, was there anything that you took from stripping to comedy? Any lessons that you learned in stripping that you could take to comedy?
Not really, because I didn't really change from who I really was when I went up there as a stripper. I'm still the same. When I dance very extravagantly. I do the snake move. Women love the snake. And I also learned how to stand still and move my hips from side to side.
Right.
And when I do that, women scream. And I don't know why. And I've said, why is that so funny? Why are you screaming at that? And one said, because we don't expect you to be able to do that.
Now, I did when I was a stripper, I used to make the women scream also when I danced, but it was mainly because I used to step on their feet sometimes as I was working the room. It's like, I'm sorry. No. No, I'm sorry. I want to play now. The clip that I have here is from the Bill Rafferty show.
Right.
It's roughly 6 minutes. And just I divided it into 2 parts. Do you remember the clip? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I close with the arms routine.
Yes, so the first part of the clip is going to be up until the beginning of the arms routine. And then the second half is going to be, because I didn't want to break up that arms routine at all.
It's funny you picked that, because I ran into a guy who has a comedy room in a Japanese restaurant. Amazing 2-floor restaurant in back of the Magic Castle, which is a major venue here in LA. You got to drive up and drive around it, and then you're looking out at Los Angeles. And he's got a comedy room, and they tried to plug in the keytar, and the input wasn't working. I said, don't worry, I do the arms routine. So I did my normal 20 minutes, and he goes. So I did like 30 minutes, and I said, all right, I need a woman to come up here. And this gorgeous, healthy woman, she had really big hands, stepped over her table to get on stage with me and got behind me and dug herself into my back. And there was very little that she did not do. She touched me in a way that you would only expect a woman to touch someone in private. Well, I ran into the guy that books the room last night. He was at karaoke. And I emailed him a couple times. I haven't heard back from him. And he was with this gorgeous woman. I mean, stunning on all levels. And he went up to sing with 2 other guys. And she said, come sit next to me. And we're sitting next to her. And I just kept looking at her, and I looked at him, and I go, what are you doing that you're fucking her? She's amazing. It sure can't be your face, you know. And so he's booking me back up there. But this is a routine where I get a woman out of the audience, and I tell her basically, you're going to be my arms, so you act out what I say with your arms. And I just let them go.
Now that's that's going to be in the second clip, the second part of the clip. I'm going to do the first part. I cut out the introduction, the Bill Rafferty's introduction, because we actually talked about you being a stripper, which he discussed. You're being a stripper. You working at the bookstore publishing company. Was it a religious publishing company?
I worked at a religious publishing house originally.
Okay, so he did.
He says he was a stripper, and you can see me. He actually testified that I was a stripper to the crowd.
Yeah, so he covered that in the introduction. So he covered that in the introduction, but we've already covered that here. So I'm just going to start just when he introduces your name.
I thought you were going to take the Love Connection video.
I don't know if I came across that one, but I did. I've seen you do the hand routine somewhere on another venue, not another venue, but maybe another show or something.
Yeah, possibly.
But I knew as soon as you saw it, I said, I know this. I recognized it.
I've seen this shit before.
Yeah. So here we go with the first part. Perry Kurtz at Bill Rafferty, the Bill Rafferty Show.
Right now, the women are looking at me and thinking, there's a guy who won't hurt me. Well, it's good to be here. I flew up today from L.A. on Delta. Kind of ashamed of that, just because it's Delta. I made the mistake of flying with them before. I was on the plane that was on that near miss. That was a lot of fun, looking out the plane, seeing people in the other plane also going. Delta actually has plastic seat covers now, and they're like plovers, but if you said it right, it'd be a lot funnier. I don't know. I don't understand flying, and I can't believe this guy tried to hijack a plane with an axe. With an axe. It's like, it's the old... How did he get through the airport? Is he running through the airport with the axe over his head? It's all right. Let him through. It's Jason. I just don't understand. But my name is Perry, Perry. Perry's in Mason, Winkle, and Como. So you can remember it. And last week somebody told me there's a medication out now called Perry Anal Cream. Yeah, pretty thrilled about that, I'll tell you. But I want to do something a little bit different here. What I want to do is tell a story, and I can't do this alone. So what I need is a female volunteer from the audience to come up here, help me tell the story. I won't embarrass you, and I promise you'll have the most fun you've ever had in 5 minutes. Can I get a lady volunteer? Got a lady over here actually has her hand up. Let's give her a round of applause to get her up here. A live volunteer. No, Bill, I said a lady, Bill. No, Bill.
One of the things that I've interviewed a number of comedians who've been doing this for a while as well. When was this? Do you remember when this was?
Probably 86.
Okay. So this is officially the oldest clip I've used. Officially. It's in the record. Before that, 89 was the oldest. Now 86. Now 1986. So the thing is,
I'm glad I could add antiquity to your show.
Well, that's the point. The point is to go back so we can discuss the progress. Because you're not the same comedian now that you were back then, even though that's on television, and that's a pretty solid set, pretty solid bit. My thing is, you did airline jokes back then.
Yeah.
Airlines are still the butt of jokes. I mean, you can still tell almost the same jokes now. You can almost tell the same jokes about airlines today. It's almost like they don't want to fix anything. It's like they like being the butt of the joke.
There's just so much there, and people can relate to it. It's the commonality of the planes. Everybody hates the food. Everybody hates the treatment. Everybody hates the seats. Everybody hates the little windows. The pilots are all stoned. It's the same type of thing. And
people are still trying to bring weapons onto the It's like nothing has changed. It's like from 1986 to 2023, nothing in airline has changed except for it's more expensive.
Nope. Yeah. Prices have gone up. Although once in a while, somebody will drop their price real low. Like there's one airline, not going to say their name, but it has to do with ghosts. And they fly real cheap, but a bottle of water is like $27.
Yeah, that's because you pay for it on the other end.
Exactly.
I think that airline should actually fly you free and not charge you unless you make it to your destination.
Yeah, if you get there, then you pay when you get off.
Yes, pay as you leave. Yes,
unless you get off.
Yeah, pay to get off the plane.
Right, unless you get off in the plane.
Now you've been doing this for quite some time.
Started in 73.
And I like in my mind, like a lot of my material, some of them are like kids, and it's hard to put them out there in public to be judged, but at some point you have to let them go. So, okay, let's see what the public, I did my best. Let's see what the public thinks of you. Do you have like material that you is really good? It's really, really solid, but it just never got the public acclaim that you think it should. It never got the attention that you think it deserved.
I'm sure there's a lot. It's just that I always have new material.
Yeah.
I still go to open mics, and I get a lot of respect from the new comedians because every time they're giving me grief outside, making fun of me. Oh, why aren't you on television? I was on the Tonight Show. I was on this, when I was on the Late Late Show, 50 million people saw it. I got $8,400 for 2.5 minutes. How much have you made in 2.5 minutes? They go, why aren't you a big star? I don't know. But
that's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get grief from a lot of younger guys, but when I go on stage, they all come in the room to watch me because I'm up there talking about here's what happened this week. Very little material that's established. It's all new, like the new joke about the asteroid. I don't know if I told you that one or not.
Right.
Yet. Yeah. Okay.
Me, but not the audience. You've told me, but not them.
there's an asteroid between the Earth and the moon, and they don't know if it's going to hit the Earth or not, but they said it's the size of a house. So they zoomed in on it with the telescopes, and it turns out it's Rosie O'Donnell. Now, what makes that funny is that few people really like her. I'm not saying she's not funny, but she's not that likable anymore.
Right.
Why she's disappeared off TV. I mean, she was kicked off her own show. But I always have new stuff. I'm talking about the apartment. The day after I got here, I said I went downstairs to use the hot tub. We have a little hot tub. I went down there, but I was watching, and there was this really old lady, looked like she was 100. She got out wearing a bathing suit, and it was literally hanging off of her bones. It just looked horrible. So I waited for her to get dressed, and she put on her bathrobe. And when she left, I got in the water. Her nipples were still floating in the water. But it's all right because they tasted like cherries. But see, I wrote that the next night. Right. I didn't write it before I got to the club. I get an idea, and then I go up and I write best under pressure. I never rehearse. I've never practiced. It's like when I would do song parodies, I would practice the first time in front of an audience. I'm only good under pressure.
Now, you're talking about Roseanne Barr, while you were talking about her, I just thought to myself, Roseanne Barr she went from Roseanne Barr to Roseanne Bard from her own show.
Yeah.
Now, were there moments when you had to start making sacrifices to move your comedy career along, and what did you sacrifice? No. You understand? Because, like, for example, I know that no one's ever heard, very, very, very few people have ever heard of me outside of my driveway, and so.
Oh, I've seen your name on a lot of bathroom walls.
Well, I've been to a lot of bathroom walls to write them, but outside of that, but like if I wanted to be I wanted to make sure I was a good husband first, and then a good comedian. So, like when other guys are hanging out, smoking dope and networking, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going home to my wife now. Talk to y'all later.
Yeah. No, I never really went through the sacrificial period because I was an established comedian when I met my wife. Okay. And it was established that I was still going to be going out every night, and she was going to take care of the kids. Then when my daughter was born 18 years ago, I realized that I couldn't still be going out on the road and leaving my wife with 4 kids, one of which was a baby. So I stopped doing the road, and I sacrificed that to go out and do senior shows, which is how I make a living now, entertaining old people and convalescents and hospitals. Hospital shows are tough. I had a guy in an iron lung. Remember those?
Yeah.
They're still around, and he's laying in his back in this metal can, looking at me while he's laying on his back, looking at me in the mirror. He says, "You look smaller in the mirror." I said, "Well, I can't tell how big you are from here either, sir." You know.
No.
But they were good. Yeah. Sometimes when we would do Louie, some of them would dance in their wheelchairs. I remember one lady backed up and got her front wheels off the ground, and they all came running over. They go, I got it.
Now, now usually when you're doing senior communities and centers, usually they tell you to be clean.
Oh yes, definitely.
Now what I don't understand is because they've been around a lot longer. Like I'm 63. They've been around. They've seen all the words. They know the words. Why are we protecting them? You know and they're probably filthier than we are.
Oh, they got filthy mouths. It's
Yes.
because if one of them is offended by your language, not so much content, but the language, that's what upsets them. And they go complain to management. Not only will you not be there, but you won't be there or there or there, because a lot of them are interconnected and it gets
Right.
around. So the dirtiest I have is I open with my name's Perry. That's Perry as in Perry Como. And they'll go, yeah. And I go, Perry Mason, Perry Winkle. And then I go, and now there's a very famous rock and roll star named Katy Perry. You heard of her? And they'll go, yeah. I go, only she's a woman. I'm a man. Don't make me prove it. I proved it last week. She looked down and said, oh, you're Jewish. And I wait and I go, that's as dirty as I'm getting.
Yeah.
But they are filthy. I had
Yeah.
a couple making out in a room, 356 people in the room. And I remember because it was a giant room. And they're all the way in the back and I hear, and I look back and I said, hey, you guys, hey, what's going on back there? And they turn around, no teeth, both completely covered with their own saliva, soaked with it. And I said, could you guys stop? He goes, leave us alone. And I said, well, are you guys in love? And he reaches over and he puts his hand on her neck and he goes, nah, we're just fucking.
No.
It was approximately a minute and a half before I could go on from all the laughter.
There was one I did community center I was doing, and there was this one lady that, well, first of all, I was told that I was booked to do an hour. And just before I go up, I learned that they are only used to 30-minute shows.
Yes.
So they booked me for an hour. And so within about 30 minutes, after about 30 minutes, I lose about half of the audience.
They're leaving, yes.
Yes. So they had to, but they didn't leave, but they were gone. You know what I'm saying? So by the time I was done the hour, there were like maybe 15 people who were involved for the entire hour.
Oh, yeah.
But there was one lady and she just kept doing this. She was just like laughing and smiling like this. And so
right.
I looked at, so when it was over with, I was talking to the lady who booked me. She was there, and she was thanking me. She said I was funny and everything. And I said, yeah. And I said, there's one lady, she really got into it. And she said, oh. And I said, yeah. She was just smiling and clapping and laughing the whole time. She said, oh no, that's Georgia. That's what she does. That's Georgia. That's her thing.
They were pointing. Oh no, that's her gig.
Yeah, that's what she does. No matter what. It's like, yeah. Like, so instead of 12 people who were really involved, I had 11. But it looked like 12 to me. Oh
yeah. They're not easy. I have a lot of friends, young comedians that thought they could go out and do senior shows.
Oh, it's not easy.
And they learned fast. My third show that I ever did, I'm in the middle of it, and the guy stands up in the back and goes, you really suck, and just plops down. And it's my third show. And I go, oh, well, welcome to me. I'm glad to be here. I suck, folks. Thank you. Yeah, it's a whole different world, and then the hospitals, that was another thing because you don't get much.
Right.
So what I've learned to do is I tell them, listen, we're comedians. We work off of your laughter. Your laughter tells us you like what we're talking about. So we will continue to entertain you with that subject matter. But if you don't laugh, we don't know what you think is funny. So what we're going to do on the count of three, I want everybody to laugh as hard and as long as you can. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And I've had people laugh for 10 seconds. Mm. And most of them, when they're done, they're going like, and after that, I go, all right, now, remember, I need you to respond, okay? I want you to respond. So if your answer is yes to any of these things, make it sound very popular in the Deep South. I want you to go, ee-haw. Ready on the count of three. Everybody go, "Yeehaw!" And they go, "Yeehaw!" All right. How many people are seeing me tonight for the first time? Yeehaw! Okay. How many have never seen me before? Yeehaw! How many people are here tonight? Yeehaw! Okay, we've lost this whole side of the room. How many people don't know where you are? Yeehaw! Oh, great. How many people just don't care? Yeehaw! So I use that in regular comedy shows when the audience is real slow and they see they're not responding to the comics before. And I've had young comics say to me, "Why are you doing that?" I go, "I'm training them to laugh out loud."
Yes.
And even at the open mics, if I do that, I go, "All right, now let's clear it up. How many people in the past week have had sex?" And they go, "Yeah." And I go, "Boy, only a couple of guys in here. All right, let's clarify. How many people had sex with another person? Just you two guys?" Joke's right there. So I become, I teach them what they need to do.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm going into speaking. I'm going to teach people to be funny.
Now, is this going to, so are you going to, is it going to be like Toastmasters, but instead of, actually you know what Toastmasters is.
Yeah, I've appeared at a lot of local Toastmasters online. I've done a lot of Zoom Toastmasters, Philly and out here.
So it's going to be like Toastmasters with jokes. Although Toastmasters.
No, it's going to be like corporations like Rotary Clubs and
Okay.
Chamber of Commerce and Coca-Cola and Tab and Sprite. I used to do a lot of that stuff, but when I got married, that just fell away. So now I'm going back in after that stuff because I can be clean and I can write specifically for them. I tell them that I'm going to roast your bosses, the new ones, but I do it in a nice way. It'll be a toast. What I need is for information is what are the dumb things that they've done that everybody knows about.
Right.
I did one for Coca-Cola. It was in somewhere in South Carolina at a giant, amazingly beautiful golf course. And there was, I think, 450 people there. I got $1,000 to do 30 minutes. And so I was talking about Alan. He was their current president. First, I talked about the one on the left. I go, "Yeah, he's not the president anymore because, well, he just sucked." But Alan here, he's got a big boat. Alan, how big's your boat? It's just 34 feet. I go, "That's a big boat, isn't it?" He goes, "Yeah, that's 3 stories long." I go, "Wow." They tell me that you got little dinghies. You let people go out on little boats out where you go out. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "We take them out in the Atlantic Ocean." I go, "And what's the problem?" "Oh, yeah, I keep falling out of the boat." And so it's something they all know about. So it's something they all laugh about. Right. So that's what I mean by toast. I don't offend anybody, but I do make fun of them.
Hi, I'm GD Fenderson, certified forensic humorist at large, but I'm losing weight. This has been part 2 of our interview with the legendary Perry Kurtz. Join us for part 3, and when you do, bring a friend.